right, C.B. Hoffmann is in the studio. She is an author, and she's a University of Florida alumni. Kind of interesting. We just had an alumni segment. She taught English and psychology here in Florida in high schools for 29 years, and she has a few books, it looks like. The one we're focusing on is the new one. It came out in February, if I understand that right. It's called Consuming Fire. It's an Alexa Sylvan novel, so we're going to get to learn not only about C.B. Hoffmann, but about Alexa, and John is in the studio as well. Let me get this camera so we can see our guests and also the artwork that they brought in to show us. C.B. Hoffmann, nice to meet you. Good morning.
Nice to meet you.
So you drove up from Orlando?
Right.
So you taught English for 29 years?
Mm-hmm.
And was part of that teaching to teach people, students, how to write?
Oh, whenever
you would think
I could,
that's part of it, right?
Whenever I could focus on writing. In fact, you try to have them focus on writing with, no matter what you're teaching them, you try to have them write something that's relevant to what they're learning.
So how did you go from being somebody who taught writing to being a writer?
You know, I think
was that a natural fit?
I think I've always been a writer.
Yeah.
I've always excelled in writing. And it's interesting that the day before I set foot in a classroom for the very first time, I had a dream, a very strange dream.
The day before?
Day before.
Uh-huh.
Very strange.
Tell me the dream.
I personally believe God gave me this dream. I saw a legal pad, and on the very first line it said, she was accustomed to coming here. She was an assassin. And then...
Whoa.
Yeah. And then it went down a whole bunch of blank lines, and on the very bottom line was the last line of the book. And I'm not going to say what the last line of the book is.
But that was
That's
in the dream.
Spoiler. But it was in a dream. And I woke up and I thought...
So wait a minute. There's the first and last line. I won't read it out loud, but is that what's in this book here? Really?
Most definitely.
She was accustomed to coming here. She was an assassin. Let me read the last one. I will not read it out loud. Read it to myself. The last line. We just got the books yesterday, by the way.
Oh, I tried to get them to you sooner. I thought.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Expected it to be sooner.
So
I woke up and I thought, wait a minute, that was my handwriting. And an interesting thing was that it was blue ink. And it just so happens that blue ink is my preferred ink color. I thought, how weird.
My banker, too. I don't know why.
Yeah. I thought, that's strange. That's strange. And then I thought about it a little more. I thought, that's a book. And so over the next 29 years...
my gosh, you sat on this for 29 years?
No, I was working on it for 29 years. But you realize English teachers have a lot of work.
I'm thinking that was in your way.
A lot of grading and preparation. So whenever I got the chance, I would write on this book. And finally, when I had it where I thought it was finished, about 22 years had passed. And, I tried to write during the summers and so forth whenever I could. But I was raising two sons, too. And
is your son your photographer, I heard?
My son, Dan, became my content editor. That's a story in and of itself. And he did all these book covers. And he's the one who formats them for ebooks and...
Really?
Formatted it for the paperback and everything. He's just very talented.
So the what do you call it? Font, the text style. That's your thing, right? All three books have that same text style.
I do Times Roman. That's what I used to teach students.
Is that called Times Roman?
That's Times Roman, and you don't want to use any. And there's another couple that you could use, but you don't want to use anything smaller than a 12-point font. That's just a rule in publishing and writing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, we have some authors who I'll open up the book and it's very large, and I say to Robert, "This is really not a very big book, because there's a few words on a page."
Oh yeah.
I won't even bother.
That can happen. Yeah.
So, Consuming Fire. Tell me the story. Who is Alexa? Let's start with her.
Okay. Well, Alexa is a young woman who is burning with the desire to have two dreams realized in her life. And she the two dreams are in conflict, unfortunately. The first is her dream of being a fashion designer and running her own fashion design house. Mm-hmm. And the other dream is her dad's dream of using her very exceptional talent as a sharpshooter to win the gold medal in the Summer Olympics that he didn't get to win because he was interrupted by war.
Okay, so let me put that on pause. So that's her dream, or it's his dream, and she wants to do it for his sake?
He's her coach, and for the last 8 years in sharpshooting, so she wants to.
So what is it? Is it a matter of she doesn't want to disappoint her father? So
doesn't want to disappoint her father. He got disappointed by having to give it up because of the war.
Does having a conflicting dream interfere with her real? Well,
Yeah.
I'll call the other one her real dream.
Her real dream, and
Yeah.
and her father does not appreciate her real dream because he has tunnel vision. It's all about him and the gold medal he never got a chance to win.
Oh, it's not fair.
Yeah, and so
Did this happen to you?
No.
No, okay.
I am not a sharpshooter.
But I mean, did you have the dual dream, and one of them wasn't really yours? It was somebody else.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't want to go to college.
But are you glad you did?
Yeah, my sister kind of coerced me. She said, "If you'll go to one term at college, I'll leave you alone." And I said, "Oh."
I picked up on your accent right there. Are you from Wisconsin?
No.
No, where are you from?
I'm from West Palm Beach, Florida.
West Palm Beach, Robin. Well, it starts with a W.
And so just to make her happy, I even had to pay for it. I went to one term at community college, and she knew what was going to happen. I got hooked. And here I am.
Well, in a way, that's
all
a good
these years
thing.
later with a master's degree. I mean,
That's a good thing. Yeah. So you're getting good reviews on Amazon, so that must be exciting, right?
well, it is exciting because it's like having other people understand and buy into the dream and the philosophy of life that you are putting out there. It's just, I've always wanted to be a writer.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Are you happy with the idea that Alexa just might be part of your life for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I should be, because there's a lot of me in Alexa.
Okay, so when your audience falls in love with Alexa, and they want another book, is it okay? I mean, like you always hear somebody say, I don't want to be typecast and all that stuff, but authors have a similar thing happen, don't they?
I don't have a problem with Alexa. She's in a trilogy, so I don't have a problem with it because Alexa is handling life the way I would handle life. Although I don't want to make anybody think I would go around assassinating people.
No, the FBI will come to your house.
And the FBI does get involved. But before I find my way back, So, I don't have a problem with Alexa becoming popular. As a matter of fact, Dan made, do you have that little doll that he made?
John has them.
The doll. I have to show you this doll that Dan made. It's really a foam core stencil of Alexa Sylvan, and they are.
Who's the lady?
That's Alexis. Oh, the woman. Dan hired her. She was a friend, and Dan hired her and photographed her in New York City. And then he came down to visit, and we went to Rollins College there in Winter Park, Florida, and he took a picture of the long, dark hallway. And he photoshopped her in front of the hallway.
Oh, nice.
And photoshopped the gun into her hands, because in New York, New York, you're not allowed to have a gun and photograph for whatever purpose. No, you don't have a gun and photograph a person with a gun.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So it was all photoshopped.
That's a big gun too.
Yeah, and so they go. Well, she uses a Glock, so they go. They're in South America right now, and wherever they go, they take a picture of Alexa Sylvan in front of wherever they are. They're going to Machu Picchu soon,
so your audience likes her. Who is she? Tell me about her. Tell me about Alexa. Is she where she grew up and what kind of? You said a lot of you is in her. So.
Yeah, she's supposedly she's the daughter of a preacher. And she has spent her life trying to please her father. She doesn't want to disappoint her father. And she's grown up in the Orlando, Florida area. And she's just kind of rebelling against being forced into living a lifestyle that she doesn't really want to live. Like she says to her dad, what kind of job do you think I'm going to get as a sharpshooter?
As a sharpshooter, yeah.
You think a turkey farm would hire me?
That's funny.
That's her attitude, you know.
But he's a pastor.
But he's a pastor, and he becomes he was a sharpshooter wanting to contend in the Olympics.
That's an interesting combination right there.
Yeah, that is.
Sharpshooting pastor.
So he trains her and becomes her coach, and then he becomes overbearing, and he tries to take over her life, and she starts to rebel.
Did you paint him as a mean guy, or am I just perceiving this wrong?
No, he wasn't originally. But when she comes to him and says, hey, I finally got the offer to intern in a top fashion design house in Paris, and I'm leaving. And he said, you mean after the Olympics? And he goes, they're in a week. And she goes, no, I have to go now. And so then a major conflict erupted. And
she should have stayed a week.
She decided she had to go because she was going to lose her opportunity.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's her dream. I think we all have a dream.
Yeah, so
is Consuming Fire the first in the series or the third? Or
it's
the
the first.
Okay.
But the reason why you'll say that's the newest book, and that's a little confusing since the
it's a prequel?
Trilogy's already written. Here's the thing. I started writing this 29 years ago, and I was a new author. I have 6 books now. And as I wrote these books, I started developing more as a writer, practice, and decided I couldn't stand the first book anymore. I said to my son, Dan, hey, we're going to have to rewrite that. And at first he said, no, it's already online. I said, yeah, but I'm finding, I also record the books. These 3 books are on audible.com.
Oh, is that right? Oh, I love that.
So
are you the voice?
Yeah. And so while I was recording them, I got my practice for recording in the classroom because I would use different accents and voices when we were reading novels together as a class and so forth. And as I was recording the first book, I said, oh, gosh, there are things I don't like here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When you heard yourself reading your own words?
I said, this has to improve. So finally, we did. We rewrote it, and just 2 months ago, he put up the rewritten version, which is what you have here in paperback.
Nice.
And so...
And you said something very interesting earlier off the air, was that you wrote it in your age bracket style. And when
I did. Yeah.
Read it.
Yeah.
He made it.
Well, all right. That goes back to the fact that I had a publisher, and I signed a contract for the original book, and then she contacted me and said, I have MS. Poor lady. And I was in remission, but I'm not now, and I can't find anybody to buy my publishing business, so I'm releasing you from your contract. I got so angry. I was mad at God. I said, why did you give me this? I don't want to have all this disappointment and frustration. And so for like 3 months, I was really mad. And then when I was driving one day, I thought, wait a minute, this is coming in between you and your relationship with God. Who gave you the book? Whose book is it? Why are you behaving this way? Who's more important, him or the book? So I said, okay, that's it. And I put the book away. I really put it away. I didn't want anything to do with it. About 3 weeks later, my son Dan, he's walking home from work in New York City, and he calls me. He says, whatever happened with your book? I said, oh, it's done. And he says, what do you mean it's done? He said, you finished it? I said, yeah, I finished it. And he says, are you done with it? And I said, yeah, I don't want anything to do with it. And he said, "Oh, come on, read the first chapter to me." And I said, "No, I don't want to go back to it. I don't want to go back to that."
Wow.
And he said, "Oh,
Sounds like a really good son, by the way.
he is, yeah." He said, "No, just read the first paragraph." Well, he was coercing me.
Yeah.
I call him the motivator.
Yeah, sounds like it, yeah.
So I started reading the first
You
paragraph.
have an artist's temperament, is what you have.
I do.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can be a little bit difficult.
No, you know what? I see the artist temperament. Here's how I see it manifesting in you. You put so much into everything you do. I'm going to be a psychic right now.
Yeah.
I'm not really a psychic, by the way. But you put so much into everything you do that all it takes is, and you've invested so much of yourself in everything you do, that one little negative comment destroys you, right?
Well,
Or it can.
It sets me off guard, and then from there, additional ones. You know how a lot of people. Now, my degree from University of Florida was in psychology, of all things.
Yeah.
So I can say to you that, and I'm no pro.
You got to go lay on your own couch.
Yeah, I'm no pro, but I will say that I think we human beings have a tendency to remember and be impacted the most by the negative things we hear about ourselves than the positive.
Is that not so bad? If it's a negative but constructive thing.
Well, yeah, that's
as
not
a
so
teacher,
bad.
As a teacher, you must have had students who
Yeah.
handed in an assignment and you really were blown away by how great it was. And then you had to say, but here's what you could do better. And that little but part of what you just said could have destroyed them, right? If you weren't careful with how you told them.
Yeah, and if you weren't willing as a teacher to invest yourself into helping them find the connections that they needed to make in their story.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna offer constructive criticism, you better be there.
So, and that's true in today's world, right? There are two types of criticisms. There's just the useless criticisms that might be jealousy or something else, and then there's once in a while the constructive. Robin and I judge the Student Media Festival every year.
Yeah.
And the students enter these videos, we watch them, and then we grade them, and then we say something. The last question on our sheet is, next time you might want to, and then we're supposed to finish the sentence. And some of them are so good, I say to Robin, I hate to finish this sentence. Because it's almost like they're going to say, wow, this was great. Oh my gosh, this was great. But next time you might want to. And so sometimes I'll write, send me a pizza. I'll just say, next time you might want to send me a pizza, so that they know I didn't want to write anything negative because this was so good.
Yeah.
So
well, it all goes back to a person's self-image. And if you have a poor self-esteem, then negative comments, even if they're constructive, can have the ability to really destroy your efforts for a while at least.
I hope it doesn't for you. I hope the artist's temperament doesn't stop you when somebody says, because every once in a while there's going to be somebody, you have all 5 stars, you have maybe 1 or 2 4 stars, and I'm wondering if the 4 stars bother you.
No, not really. I think that's personal preference in reading.
Would you like these to be movies?
Oh my gosh, what an interesting thing for you to ask. I've been told that my books all read like movies. They're action-packed and they move quickly. They're page-turners, I've been told.
But they are Christian books.
They are Christian, and people say,
oh, I didn't know that part. Okay.
Yeah, people say, how in the world can it be a Christian book when it's a murder mystery and she's an assassin? And I say, well, yeah, she rebelled against her dad, who was a preacher, and she started going
The Bible has murder in it. What are you
I know, but a lot of people don't think about that, So it's a woman finding her way back to God is
this makes me love it even more.
The themes are repentance, forgiveness, and reconciliation in that order. And that all works into it.
The thermometer just went to the top.
Oh, well, good.
I mean, you have won me over already.
Well, great.
Everything was good, but that just put it over the top. And I love that. I love the fact that you've taken real life and have a way of telling a story that has a Christian message.
Well, now you have told the heart of my purpose in writing. You just hit it, the nail
Well,
on
you did.
the head.
You told me.
That is it.
I just repeated it.
Well, you're very perceptive. That is, people who are struggling with whatever they've done in life and feel like, oh, well, I could never have a relationship with God Almighty, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's what this is
I think that's
basically about.
That's what the Bible's filled with. It's filled with stories of people David, who had lusted for his neighbor or something, wanted to kill her husband, right?
Yes.
Robin is a Sunday school girl, so knows.
Yeah.
But I said, wow, this guy's like, that's who the star is named after, right? Star of David. And this guy was lusting after his neighbor? I don't feel so bad anymore.
Yeah, but David turned around after he got confronted by the prophet saying, hey, you shouldn't have done that.
I love the dialogue in the book, and
good.
I like how she bounces back and forth from present day, and then she has her thoughts
Oh, you got flashbacks.
behind. Yeah, very, very well done.
Those are hard to do. I never realized how hard it was to write flashbacks.
Once the flashback ends and she's back in present, you want to, as the reader, wanted to go back to see where that flashback
How those things fit together.
Right, exactly. It's a very intriguing
And
book.
in rewriting the book, that was one of the things I had to fix.
Oh,
I
really?
had to make it more understandable to the reader about how her past was fitting in with her present and compelling her to do what she was doing.
And it's set in the current time period right now?
It's in the current time period, but to get back to what Robin said about my son becoming my editor, he would say, Mom, I think you ought to, and that first time he called me and got me to read that first chapter, he said, I think you should say that this way, because people my age would relate to it better if you said it this way. So that's why I call him my content editor. He got all the taxi cabs out of the books, and they're all drive shares now.
Oh, okay.
I understand what you're saying. I just got a smartphone in October. You know why I got a smartphone? So I could get Uber when I went to New York.
So there you go. There you go.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, and he's become a photographer, and some of my experience with developing film in a dark room.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
right.
He almost flipped out when he said, you are not going to have an old-fashioned dark room and everything is digital. It's on disc. So
That's very good. I'm glad he did that. That is true. And I think because it seems like we're all the same age, and that's exactly what mistakes we would make.
that's what, my experiences went in.
Yeah.
So-
It's like when we have somebody in the studio who has a new record or a new album or musical thing, and they come in and they are not young, and I will listen to the music, and it's really good, and I'll say to Robert, it's really good, but it wouldn't be on the radio in today's world. It's really good, but it needed to come out 40 years ago. It's that kind of thing. Yeah.
Back with James Taylor. And
Yes, exactly. So, but as a writer, you have to kind of follow that same.
I had to. I made up a word for Robin recently. I said he youthifized it.
Yeah, that's
I like that.
word. I love that. You can have to put that in the dictionary.
He had to put that. He had to put that into motion.
Alexa is a very strong character,
Oh,
but
yeah.
she also has male. You've also brought out male characters in the book that have that strength too. And that way she grows and she can defend herself against conflict, but she's still a woman. She still has that emotion.
Should I mention the names in the book?
You can, yeah. I think people would be intrigued by that. The opposite.
The main characters are named after my family.
Oh no!
There's a Daniel Gother character, and that's
yeah.
for my son Dan. And Mark Truman is our younger son Mark.
Are they like them?
In many
The characters,
ways.
yeah.
In many ways.
Now wait a minute. You named them after your children.
Well, not
Does that-
not just my children. The town of Oscarton, my dad's name was Oscar.
Okay.
There's Maria Deanna in it, who's a sub character, and my mother's name was Maria Deanna. So,
So you realize Alexa is the model portraying Alexa is really sexy. So
well,
is there sexy in the book?
well, there's love.
There's love in the book.
There's love in
All
the
right.
book.
So how do you do
There
that?
is love.
How do you take characters named after your children and get them in bed? You shouldn't even be
But
there.
I didn't. That's just it. I did not get them in bed. I got them into the way my concept of real love, being that you start out, you got to have a good friendship. You better have a good friendship, because if you don't have a good friendship, when all the stars and butterflies wear off, what have you got? So, we've been married almost 45 years.
Oh, John is your husband.
Yes,
Oh, I didn't
John's
realize
my
that.
husband.
So you're good friends.
Yeah, you had to be good. You had to be good friends first, and so that's this is a friendship developing into
Oh, so they never
an attraction and a love interest. Well, there's a marriage in the last book and everything, but
So how do you handle it? Who's the author we speak to? Oh gosh, what's her name? She's really popular, and she always takes you to that point, and then the next scene it's after the bedroom.
Yeah,
the lady we always talk to.
Yeah,
she's Missy. Missy likes her a lot.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember her name now.
Anyway, so she's on the show a lot.
Well, there's so much of the FBI.
She's a Christian author too.
Yeah,
by the way.
good. I'd like to know her name if you can remember.
Robin will remember.
Okay, Robin,
Pull it
the
back.
pressure's on you, Robin. I saw how he did that. You got to do it, Robin. But my character, I mean, there's so much. She falls in love with the FBI agent who's actually undercover coming after her. So there's no in-bed scene.
Although he is undercover.
Yeah, well, undercover. All right.
Debbie Maycomer.
But good.
Debbie
thank you.
Maycomer, that's the name. Yeah. Thank
And
you, Robin.
I'm
I told you she would pick it up.
he's chasing her. He's on her case, and so I mean, it's a very
Chasing her, or
chasing her as an FBI agent,
oh, okay.
uncovering the fact that she is the one who is assassinating people in Oscarton.
You also have a book trailer.
You do?
Oh, my son Dan. He
Fabulous.
is very creative, as you can see. But he came up with this idea to make a 2.5-minute
Really?
movie clip out of the first action scene of the first book, which happens in the first chapter. I keep not forget that. Okay, yeah, and actually his wife plays the part of Alexa Sullivan.
Oh, really?
And he has a state trooper that he graduated from high school with, who plays the cop in the scene. You know what's interesting about that is from the minute he enters the scene, it's like, whoa, I'm glad I haven't done something wrong, because he's very authentic. He is very authentic.
I was looking for the book trailer online. Is there a website I can find it on?
Yes,
Is
if
it
you
yours?
go to my website, CB Hoffmann, and don't forget 2 F's and 2 N's, Larry,
Okay.
in Hoffman.
Got it. There it is.
.com, and then you scroll down to the bottom to
Yeah.
YouTube. Dan made that website too. Down to the
down to the YouTube
YouTube
thing? Okay.
at the bottom, and click on that,
All right, here we go.
and click on
So
the
where's
the scene.
which one? Can somebody fire?
Yeah,
Oh, the live action intro.
the live action
Okay,
intro.
let's listen to it. If there's no commercial, I'll be here. We go. Can you hear? Oh, you have to put your headset on. You would be able to hear it.
Oh, well, I did the narrating for that.
Oh, you did?
She was an
Yeah,
assassin
and,
rolled in a sultry web of blackmail and deceit. Only a few moments remained before they would investigate this locality, but hopefully not the church.
Oh, wow.
She slipped inside, muffling the piercing blasts as patrol cars moved down the block. She scanned the length of the room. As she could sense no movement, she cautiously proceeded. As the dark shadows within faintly lifted, she moved
Nice.
down the aisle until she reached the 7th row.
Nice.
Carefully, she explored the underside of the pew and ripped the tape loose, freeing a sizable manila envelope stuffed with large bills. Payoff cash.
Oh man, I wish I
She
would find
worked
that.
quickly and stuffed the bundle of bills into her coat pocket. She slipped out of the pew and stared out the stained glass windows.
Very nice.
When suddenly, flashing blue lights diverted her attention.
Oh, God, look at that.
In one
That's nice.
continuous flow, she dropped and gripped her weapon.
Nicely
The
done.
cops-
I'm going to just interfere so that I can interrupt. I mean, so that I can get back to talking to you. So I like that. That's awesome. And everybody can see that. Go to your website, cbhoffman.com. Mm-hmm. 2 N's.
2 F's, 2 N's.
2 N's.
Very balanced.
Well, good for you. Congratulations. This is an exciting time
you.
for you, isn't it? So that dream you had before you started your teaching career is now coming true, or has come true.
It seems to be. It's a work in progress, and it's amazing to watch what's happening. How many unknown authors do you know that wind up having their first interview on live TV? And that's what happened.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, I was on Channel 5 in West Palm Beach, which is where I was born and raised.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't much. It was 3 minutes, but it was a live TV interview.
Well, you are live right now on radio. Does that?
Yeah. And then the very next night, a California radio interview during rush hour. California rush hour in Sacramento.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I am still.
Is your son watching right now?
No, he's in South America.
In South America.
He's in Lima, Peru.
Well, they don't have internet down there?
Some places, no, actually, not a lot. You have to go to certain places to try to get it.
CB Hoffman,
Yeah,
it's been a joy to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming in here and sharing your talents and your passions with us. I love the title Consuming Fire now that I know what the story is about. It's a great title, Consuming Fire. We all should have a consuming fire within us, right?
Well, it's
More than one meaning?
one of the names that God is called in the Old Testament.
I didn't know that.
He is
Robin probably knew that.
He is a consuming fire.
Wow.
So, a lot of, you guys have been great. It's been really fun talking to you.
Oh, man, this has been awesome. So good luck with everything. Can I give away the copy you sent us?
Yes, and I brought 3 more with me in case you wanted them.
That's what you brought in, those other things. If you would like a copy, we just found out that we have, 4 copies? So call me up during the break because we have to take a break and we'll give away the copies. The number here is 622-9622. And since CB is here, she will sign them for you, okay? 622-9622. We'll give away the books right now. It's called Consuming Fire. And we'll take a little break and we'll be right back. Thank you both for coming in here, John and CB. Thank you for driving so far from Orlando. Wait a minute. I still got something playing in the background.
Phones are lighting up.
All right, we'll be right back.
Broadway's mega hit Mamma Mia is live on stage at Ocala Civic Theater May 17th through June 17th. ABBA favorites like Dancing Queen, Super Trooper, and Mamma Mia are all part of the fun musical about what happens when you surprise your mom by inviting all 3 men who might be your dad to your wedding. On sale now, 352-236-2274 or buy online at okalacivictheater.com.
The crepe myrtles are rolling into Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. Now Bob has crepe myrtles, prices starting as low as $2.99, all the way up to $39.99. And listen to the colors: pink, purple, peppermint, deep red just to start. Then there's black diamond and white and dark red. The colors are endless. And while you're there, check out the roses. More than you can imagine in one place. Colors that'll knock your eyes out, and prices start at just $17.99. Remember, Bob has everything else for that yard or garden, including his famous no-float pine straw mulch. Just $4.75 a bale when you buy 10 or more. Buy a gorgeous hanging basket, just $14.99, and get a second one for half price.